மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.
Okay, well now we move on to the 4 pawns attack. The way I want to handle this section of the update is to give you some ideas from my original suggestion and then go on to look at another interesting line for black against the 4 pawns, which I think deserves careful consideration. And the first game I want to show you is a game between Brian G. Smith, grade 2386, and Alexander Shabalov. And this game was played in the World Open in 2007. You'll recall from the first version of the DVD that against the 4 pawns, I was recommending that black tries to destabilise white's centre immediately by going c5, and after that, g6. This is a very sharp variation and invariably leads to complicated play, ideal for playing for the winners black, although of course you take a greater risk when you play in this manner. This should not worry Alekhine players. In general, we're very happy when we provoke white into playing one of the sharper variations because we're going to get plenty of winning chances as a result. Now in this particular game, Smith deploys his pieces in the theoretically approved manner. He puts his bishop on f4, which is supposed to be a good location for that bishop, and backs it up with queen d2. And everything that hinges really in this line as to whether black can mount a successful attack, further destabilisation against the white pawns on e5 and d5. e6 is the best way to do this. White castles, black softens up the pawns a bit more, and then he plays his rook to e8. Black can also consider the move bishop g4 in this situation. I think probably Shabalov is waiting for white to play knight f3, and only then will he play bishop g4. So for this reason, white plays rook e1 first. Now black's got to find an alternative location for his queen's bishop, and indeed for his minor pieces on the queen side. So knight a6 was black's reply. Knight f3 was answered by knight b4, and bishop g5 by f6. Okay, well white could take on f6 here, which simply leads to a remarkably unclear position after a few trades. It's very, very unclear to me whether that pawn on d5 is strong or weak. Certainly black is giving white plenty of problems to solve. So going back, white decided to keep the pin on the pawn with bishop h4. I wondered if Smith had seen Shabalov's upcoming continuation, because after bishop b5, black now played the stunning move a6. I think Shabalov has always been tactically a very alert player, and the point of a6 is that if white mistakenly takes on e8, black comes crunching in with knight d3 check, and then knight c4. This is going to lead to a ferocious attack for black, and I'm sure white overlooked it. Taking on f6 doesn't really help. Black still has his ferocious attack. So, back at the game, Smith played e takes f6, probably after long thought, because it seems to me he gets into desperate time trouble in this game. Shabalov takes on e1, and then takes on f6. And black is even able to sacrifice his queen in this game, as after bishop takes e8, rook takes e8, bishop takes e8, black now plays his knight into c4. This is a very tactically orientated variation. Okay, well, with pieces en prise all over the place, white plays bishop f7 check, and the point of this is a deflection to allow white to play queen h6 with gain of time. In comes the knight to d3 check, and now bishop g7. Knight g5 check is answered by king f8, and knight takes h7 check by king g8. Now knight f6 check completes the wheel of fortune for the knight, and black puts his king on f7. Queen g5 is now answered by rook h8, and then knight fe4 by rook e8. I think the complications were really getting to Smith at this stage, as at every point in this game he's got to wonder exactly what damage the black knights are going to do to him. d6, mistake. Knight d takes b2, king c2, and now the match winner, knight takes d6. The next move gives me every indication that Smith was very short of time as he played queen takes f5 check and simultaneously resign. But if we look at the position carefully, we're going to see that black is actually gaining more material for the queen and ends up with raking bishops and still his virulent attack in progress. So Smith ended the game with queen takes f5 check. So I think Shabalov views this line as very practical. It's a good way to meet the 4 pawns. It's one of the lesser known and lesser understood variations, and invariably leads to sharp play. I see no reason why we shouldn't continue playing this line as black.
மறக்காம சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணுங்க. Thank you.